Hey everyone, welcome back to Literary Mystique, where we explore the fascinating world of English literature. Today, we'll dive into one of the most influential eras in literary history, the Victorian Age, which spans from 1837 to 1901. This period, named after Queen Victoria, witnessed rapid industrial growth, social transformation, and the rise of some of the greatest literary minds. From Dickens' social realism to the Gothic horrors of Dracula, the Victorian Age shaped literature in ways that still impact us today. So, let's explore the themes, key writers, and the lasting legacy of this golden age of English literature. During this time, the Industrial Revolution reshaped society, bringing urbanization, technological advancements, and class struggles. The British Empire expanded, leading to colonial influences on literature. Science versus religion became a hot debate as Darwin's theory of evolution challenged traditional beliefs. This era reflected the struggles, hopes, and contradictions of Victorian society through literature that ranged from romantic idealism to harsh realism. The literature of the Victorian Age evolved in response to rapid social changes. Unlike Romanticism, idealism, Victorian writers focused on real life struggles, social issues, and morality. Many novels carried strong moral lessons, often highlighting themes of virtue, sin, and redemption. Writers portrayed the harsh realities of factory life, poverty, and the struggles of the working class. Women's voice gained prominence, questioning gender roles and social expectations. Victorian literature was a mirror to its time, capturing the essence of a rapidly changing world. While the novels flourished, poetry remained influential. The Victorians inherited romantic ideals but added their own touch of melancholy, social consciousness, and introspection. Tennyson, the poet laureate of the era, is known for The Charge of the Light Brigade and In Memoriam. Robert Browning and Elizabeth Browning are considered the masters of dramatic monologue and personal emotions, seen in My Last Duchess and Sonnet 43. Matthew Arnold, a critic and poet, his poem Dover Beach reflects the loss of faith in the modern world. Poetry in this period became a medium of personal expression and social critique. The novel became the dominant literary form of the era, reflecting Victorian society's complexities. Charles Dickens, a master of realism, his novels like Oliver Twist and Great Expectations exposed poverty, injustice, and social hypocrisy. The Brontë sisters wrote deep psychological novels. George Eliot, a pioneer of psychological realism, her novel Middlemarch is considered one of the greatest English novels. Thomas Hardy, his works like Tess of the D'Urbervilles and Jude the Obscure focus on fate, human suffering, and societal constraints. These novelists shaped modern fiction, making Victorian literature one of the richest literary eras. The Victorian era saw the rise of women writers who challenged gender roles and highlighted women's struggles. Charlotte, Emily, and Anne Brontë, their novels explored themes of independence, love, and social constraints. George Eliot wrote under a male pseudonym to be taken seriously, crafting psychological realism in Middlemarch. Elizabeth Gaskell, a champion of social issues, her novels like North and South depicted class struggles and women hardships. This period paved the way for women's voices in literature, setting the stage for feminism in the 20th century. The Gothic tradition of the 18th century continued into the Victorian era, but with a darker psychological depth. Bram Stoker's Dracula introduced modern vampire fiction, mixing horror with Victorian fears of science and the unknown. Robert Louis Stevenson's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde explored the duality of human nature and repressed desires. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein remained influential, inspiring later Gothic works. These novels reflect Victorian anxieties, the unknown, human psychology, and scientific advancements. The Victorian age was marked by scientific advancements and growing realism in literature. Darwin's On the Origin of Species challenged religious beliefs, influencing literary themes of doubt and evolution. Realism and naturalism emerged. Writers like Thomas Hardy and George Eliot portrayed life with brutal honesty. Colonialism and an empire. Literature reflected the British Empire's expansion, seen in works like Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book. Victorian literature bridged the gap between idealism and harsh reality, preparing the way for modernist thought. The Victorian age was a golden era that shaped modern literature, blending romantic ideals with realism, Gothic horror with science, and morality with social critique. From Dickens' social realism to Hardy's tragic fate, and from Tennyson's poetic grandeur to Bram Stoker's Gothic horror, Victorian literature remains timeless and deeply influential. In the next video, we will dive into modern age in detail. Stay tuned, and as always, keep reading, keep writing, and keep exploring the wonders of literature.